All right. So, okay, we're going live. Okay. So, hey everyone, hope you're all doing well today. Thanks for taking the time to join me and a very special guest we have on the show today. I'm super honored that he is taking the time to share his wisdom and insight with not only myself, but for everyone watching and, of course, the whole Saastronautics community. My name is Shannon Agrada from Saastronautics, and welcome to the fifth episode of SaastroTalks, a series where we'll be reaching out to professionals and experts in their industries in order to provide valuable information for our community, aka you guys watching right now, and of course for later on when this will be uploaded. So today, joining me on the screen is the CEO of Paper.li and a platform that can help build your digital presence in minutes and so much more. Please give Dan Federico a warm welcome to talk about the role of personal branding in the fashion economy. So hi Dan, how are you doing?
I'm good, Shannon. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's really hot right now. The
Yeah.
lights are blinding me. So, without further ado, I will give you the spotlight.
Okay, cool. I will take it over.
Yes,
So let me
there you
know.
go.
I just put it large screen. Let me know if you can see it okay.
Yes, can see it.
Yeah?
All right. Yes, great. All right, all
Okay,
yours.
cool. Okay, I'll get going then. So it's really cool to be here. Thanks for the invitation. So, guys, I'm going to talk to you today about the role of personal branding in the passion economy. So, probably, I mean, you've definitely heard about personal branding before, I'm sure. And there's a good chance that you've heard about the passion economy. Maybe, maybe not. It's a concept that I was even introduced to only about maybe a year ago or so. But even before I knew the concept, I had definitely seen the passion economy in action. I'm sure you have all seen it in action as well. Maybe you're even living it, but it's a very exciting trend that I really believe, and we believe at Paper.li, that's really going to change the future of how we all work. And it's a narrative that we've really built around our company, and we think it's so exciting, and it's a story that we like to share and inspire others to join as well. So those are the two topics that I'll talk to you about today. And for anybody listening live, jump in. Shannon will stop me at any point. I can answer questions. So feel free to ask in the chat if you have anything. But for now, I'll proceed. Yeah. So your personal brand. So I mean, this is kind of, I don't even want to say cliche, but it's definitely something, one of these terms that gets more and more traction lately. It could mean many different things. Some people refer to it as how you're, represented online. Others might say, what people say about you once you leave the room. It means many different things. We like to summarize it as like, what would you like to be known for, kind of in life? It could be as big as life. It could be in your job. But I think with digital technologies, and I'll share some trends on the next slide. Your personal brand, which was something that, yeah, maybe more was just an in-person thing, but with digital technology, I mean, your digital brand and your personal brand and your digital presence is something so significant. It can impact all different areas of your life, from getting a job, from your business. It's so important, and it's never been easier to kind of represent who you'd really like to be and what you'd like to be known for online. So the tools are there, and the stats are there to say that it's really important and it can do great things for you. So that's kind of how we phrase it at Paper.li, at least. And just sharing a couple trends here. So got to have a slide on different stats, of course. But this is the first year that over half the world's population is on social. So that was quite a milestone. And it's actually active social users now. So I mean, we see this everywhere, from LinkedIn to Facebook and WeChat, and all the other channels that are popping up. You see how important it is, and it's a lot of people, right? Maybe previously, back in the day, especially when I started in social, it was much more about brands. and
Mm.
what they had to say on social, and that's really changed. I mean, now it's all about people interacting. There's a U.S. statistic here for us, the only one we could really find, but this is even pre-COVID, so this has really changed since then. But there's like massive waves of people leaving the traditional workforce to start
Mm.
their own business. So this is kind of another milestone year where this is the biggest number that we've seen. So it's quite exciting. People are definitely leaving traditional workforce and doing things that they love. And
Mm.
the last one, 60% of the upcoming generation, they want to become online influencers. There's a study that I'll reference in a few slides up. It's quite an interesting study what's happening with the younger generations. I mean, becoming an influencer is really, they're seeing it as like this could be a career for me.
That's
Um,
true.
yeah, especially with niche influencers, it's quite an interesting time.
Yeah, it's like when you talk to little kids and then you ask them, what do you want to be? And they say YouTubers or, Instagram famous people. I'm just like, wow, I didn't have that option.
So strange, right?
Right.
I reference one. There's a slide on some stats about the change of what they used to want to be astronauts and now they want to be YouTube stars. And
You know.
like it's changed so quickly just in a few years. But there's actually some positive things that come out of the study too. It's not just
Mm.
about making money; they also want to make impact and other great
Mm.
things. So, but there's one other reason why we're seeing this massive wave of personal branding, and that's what's being referred to as the passion economy. So it's basically this new era, and we see it all around us, where people are starting to turn their passions into careers,
Mhm.
um, side projects, side hustles, and into small businesses.
Mm.
And because it's accelerating so quickly, and there's so many tools that allow us to not only do this, but also monetize it, it's starting to really change the future of work.
Mhm.
And the most important part, at least to us, but I'm sure any creator, influencer, and all the other niches that I'll mention here, it all starts with who you are and your personal brand. So it's
Mm.
quite an exciting time. And I love this. So I'm going to reference just a couple of like the thought leaders around the passion economy on the next slide. So they're the ones that actually one gentleman came up with this here, but he just phrases the last few different economies that we were in,
Mm.
and basically, one of the biggest one was the widget economy, and this is really around industrialization, and it was all around making the same things better and better. So there was, and you could think about manufacturing, medicine, airlines, all these big industrial, since the Industrial Revolution, basically.
Mhm.
Um, and it was, there was no individuality here. So you were an employee on a line, or you had an employee number, and in terms of who you are, that was mattered very little in this economy. So there's no room for personal branding.
Mhm.
Fast track, many different years, and one of the economies that we're still in right now, um, is the gig economy. And I think most people, when they hear this, they're thinking maybe Uber, for example. And there's much more room and much more flexibility for the employee.
Mhm.
They have ownership over, the times that they're working. They can do side hustles as well. Yeah, work when they want, when they don't want to work, and do multiple different things. And so the employee is basically more, yeah, respected and more flexible. So it's like, okay, we're headed in the right direction here.
Mhm.
But to become wealthy in the gig economy as an individual, it's very, very hard, because basically the time you put in, there's kind of like a finite time. It's, you get paid for the hours that you put in for yourself. So it's not a scalable business by any means. So
Mhm.
headed in the right direction, a little bit of kind of personal branding, a little bit of individuality, but not quite there yet. And now enter this passion economy, where Lee Jin, who's one of the thought leaders on the next slide, and she quotes it as individuality is a feature and not a bug. And I love that. And
Mhm.
it's all about the individual. And it's about creating, there's audiences out there and there's communities out there based off of, it doesn't matter how niche it is, there's a group
Mm-hmm.
out there for you, and it's all based around who you are, and it's kind of selling that to a
Mm-hmm.
community. And so here's a couple thought leaders here. So Adam Davidson, he wrote a book on this. And so, yeah, it's called The Passion Economy. I would recommend it too. He's got great content online too, great videos. His quote here: "Unprecedented opportunities for curious, ambitious individuals to combine the things that they love with their careers." And his
Mm-hmm.
story is a little bit like, he talks about his father. And when he grew up, his father was, his real passion was to be like an actor. But I mean, back in that day, it was like there was no chance for you to turn your passion, something like that, into a career. So they were very, very separate things. And he just, he talks about the story there, but how in this day it's like it's so easy now to turn your passion into your livelihood. So say it's in acting, for example. Well, so many other ways that you can kind of fulfill that passion and turn it into a livelihood without being an actor yourself. Well, first of all, you could be an actor because now you can create the video content, YouTube stars. I mean, these are kind of like the new types of actors these days. So yeah, you could still be that traditional kind of fulfill that acting role online. Maybe it's live
Mm-hmm.
stream, these different types of things. But you could also, I mean, there's endless possibilities to get into kind of the show business, entertainment space online, just curating content, writing about it. I mean, podcasting, courses. There's so many ways for you to just create content and monetize it.
That's true.
Um, and in Legion, so she's really, I mean, I would really recommend, if you're interested in this creator economy, passion economy at all, sign up for her newsletter on Substack, or she's all over social on Twitter. Great content. She's another one of the kind of pioneers here, and
Mm-hmm.
she's more about the monetization aspect. So she now owns a venture capitalist company herself, I believe, and they're investing specifically in companies that allow people to kind of create content and monetize that content online. And so she says, yeah, here users can now build audiences at scale and turn their passions into livelihoods. This has huge implications for entrepreneurship and what we'll think of as a job in the future. And the last point I'll make here is that you can already see that happening. I'm gonna show you all of these different tools to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. If you're not familiar
Mm-hmm.
yet, but so many different ways now that people are creating multiple side hustles online, and
Mm-hmm.
things that started out as a side hustle are now turning into a very real career for people.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense so far?
Yeah, really does.
So yeah, so some fun facts. Yeah. Now there's 50 million people consider themselves as creators. So the creator economy and passion economy, these get like used interchangeably. They really are
Mm-hmm.
around the same thing. I think creator is a little bit more about, yeah, actually creating content online, where passion economy, you could also have a traditional job,
Mm-hmm.
and it's your passion. But they're pretty much interchangeably used. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the worldwide, it's like the fastest growing type of small business. So as an individual creating content online, it's absolutely skyrocketing. And I have another chart. I'm not sure if it's in this presentation, but if you see the impact during COVID, especially in the US, where you see requests for small businesses, I mean, it absolutely skyrockets.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
even on
really
Instagram actually. Whenever you tag so let's say you have you bought something from a small business, there's actually like that little sticker where it says support small businesses, or
right,
if you can
right,
tag that account right away. It's such a strange thing to look at. I mean, before we didn't have that back then, like maybe 2 years ago, but all of a sudden since the pandemic happened, it's been small businesses have become more prominent, and it's an actual option there which allows them to while what's all while promoting their business, they're also able to make content out of it. So I think that was just really cool. So
Yeah, great point. Yeah, that's great to see too, especially because of like the impact, the
Mm-hmm.
negative impact that COVID has had on small business, like,
Mm-hmm.
bricks and mortar, like real life businesses, right?
Yeah,
So that's good to hear that. Yeah, and we also see in the stats everywhere. Well, if you're doing the right things online, these businesses are doing really well during COVID.
of course.
So yeah, and then yeah, here's the stat I mentioned before. So in the U.S., more kids want to be a YouTube star than an astronaut by like 3 times, I guess. That was something that just drastically changed over the last few years. That's quite a funny one. And the top earning YouTube star is 9 years old and earns 30 million. I mean, that's crazy, but we see stats like this. I put that last one in there just to for a wow factor, but the creator economy and the passion economy, they're not the great part about it is that we're not talking about rock star influencers all the time.
Mm,
If we look back 5 years, those were the only ones really making a lot of money because it
mm,
was big influencers with big following and there were very, very few of them. The
mm,
future all about any individual, small micro influencers. So you don't even need to have a really big presence at all. And brands are working with these individuals, and you're able to set up your own online store or sell content, whether it's writing or audio or video, whatever that
mm,
is. And so now it's really changing. So these big superstar ones are always interesting to look at. But I think the exciting part is that really any of you listening right now, it's very, very real that you could do this yourself.
true.
And it means more chances to do what you love. I mean, that's the whole thing about the passion economy. That's why it's so fantastic. Like, start with what your passion is, start building something, and great things can happen, right? So you can, all of the stats point to if you, and this is where I'm starting to go back into the personal branding part, is that if you build a digital presence, and you show passion online and you have a great profile, well, you're way more likely to get hired. All the stats say that, HR, recruiters, I mean, that's the one thing that they're going to look at right away is what's this person's presence and is it impressive? All the stats say that you're going to get more likely get hired. If you're in sales, you're going to outsell your colleagues. I mean, all the stats point to that on LinkedIn. It's not even contested anymore. You're going to have better business success. You're going to grow your online revenue. I mean, if you build a digital presence and put yourself out there, only great things can really happen. And this one is also interesting. So here's that study that I referenced before. The sources are all here if you want to have a read. It was an in-depth study from the next generation, Gen Z, Gen Y in the U.S. And they really just see their personal brand, their digital presence as a real future for them. Uh, Look on the left, it's all those things I mentioned. They want to do it for career growth, for income, to start a business. But on the more positive side as well, the number two response was to make a difference in the world.
Mm,
Yeah, a little bit vague. They have more details in the study, but it's also positive too. Like if you are not just interested in doing a small business, but you're doing this for a social cause, for example, I mean, the tools are out there for you to have real impact and
mm,
make something of yourself on these topics that you're so passionate about. So here's where, we start to
mm.
share real examples. I think if we focus on the left side of the screen, you've probably seen most of
Yeah,
these, sure, right?
of course.
And
Yes.
like, okay, so Medium, everyone knows this, one of the first ones. You can write, and the more views you get, the more income you generate,
Mm,
right? Etsy is a real traditional one, right? So you're actually selling products, like physical products online.
yeah.
YouTube, okay, everyone knows. Twitch, video games. Shopify, more selling physical products. Now, Twitter announced a bunch of new features as well. Like they're really getting into this creator space, communities, all of the social platforms. I saw LinkedIn now is this week is now launching like a creator profile.
Oh, wow.
So all of the social networks are now realizing, okay, creators are really the future. We need to give them the tools to also start monetizing content.
Mm,
Sure, I can't believe that really Instagram hasn't gone there yet. I'm sure that's like the next big step. they're already in obviously e-commerce,
Yeah.
sure, gated premium content from influencers. I'm sure that's the next thing. Then you got OnlyFans. We might know that one too. So a little bit more interesting one there. But on the right hand side, this is where you start to see the breadth of it. So Substack, do you know that one, Shannon?
I haven't heard of that. I've
That's a
heard of that actually.
which one? Which one?
Substack, I haven't heard of that actually.
Okay, yeah. So Substack, it's another one that you now that you saw it here, you're going to probably start seeing it everywhere. It's a way to monetize your newsletters.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
yeah, so basically they give you the tools to write and to send newsletters, and people can subscribe to them. And
Mm,
then the more subscribers you get, then you can start putting monetization on it, so that people start paying for premium content. And obviously, all of these players get like a little percentage
yeah.
of it. But it's really big. The biggest creator on there right now, I think, makes like, I don't know. And this is an old stat. This is probably way more, but it was like 500K a year. The best
Wow.
writer, and it's not, that's not like this big superstar. This is more
Mm,
towards my point where there's actually tons of these folks making reasonable, like, really good income off that channel.
yeah.
And then you've got Teachable and Outschool. This is really for teachers, but also I'm not sure if it's just limited to teachers, but it's basically like, yeah, okay, so taking your knowledge
So
and
you're
creating courses and monetizing those online.
Oh, that's cool. So it's sort of like Coursera or
Exactly.
those other platforms. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And I won't list them all off. Patreon is really cool. That's another really popular one. It's more also for creatives. I'll reference one on the next,
Mm,
but that's really like, it's got a quite a breadth of customers on there
mm,
doing different things.
mm,
Red Circle's podcasting. There's so many. There's so many companies out there. It's like,
mm,
if you Google creator economy or passion economy, like products or something, there's an image there that categorizes all of them, and there's, I don't know, there's maybe hundreds now, and it seems like new ones are popping up every
that's
day.
crazy. There are a lot
Yeah,
of tools there, you know.
there's a
Before it was
lot.
only super limited, and now there are chances, there are ways, there's so many ways to grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, yeah, it's an exciting thing. I mean, you can
It
tell
really
that
is.
it makes sense. I mean, you know, start with your passion, start sharing your knowledge online, and even
Yes.
generate a little revenue from it. I mean, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And we sneak ourselves in there as well. We don't have a monetization feature yet, but what we want to help with, and I'll mention that at the very end, but it's just helping anybody start to build their
Mm,
personal brand online. So here's just a couple snapshots. Berlin food stories from Patreon. It's just to give you an example of how this gentleman monetizes things. So of course he's giving value because he's interesting. He's going to all the restaurants in Berlin,
mm,
rating them, just sharing great content. But then he's also takes it a step further, and now he organizes kind of exclusive, dinners and meetups. So maybe at
mm,
the really great restaurant, if you can join him, or you can join a community and go have a meal there, or see like behind the scenes thing, or get a special dish.
mm-hmm.
I'm not following him every day, but he's got like really great content, and it's fun, and it's like this guy loves his life. Like he's just
Yeah.
doing what he loves, and now he's got this great community, and it's not, most of these platforms aren't asking their community members for a ton. Sometimes it's just like little tips, like tip jar, for example, like a few
Yeah.
dollars for this and that. Maybe it's a few dollars a month for something. But I
Yeah.
think if you can build a good sized community, then he's doing quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't mention all of them, but I will mention Gerald on the bottom.
Sure.
Um, so Gerald Peters, I put him in here because he's one of my favorites, right? So I follow him. He's just a great story because, yeah, the message that we try and get out to everybody is that it's not, like I said, it's not influencers. Any Joe can do this. And he
Mm-hmm.
is really your regular guy because based in the US. He's an army, like an army vet, and he had like no education. He renovates houses. He says he's never made more than like $12 an hour in his life.
Mm.
But he does two things. He started investing in real estate and in
Mm.
stocks.
Oh,
And
okay.
he read a ton of books, and now he started to create his own content. So he started with his own like ebook, and I
Oh,
love it
wow.
because he brags about, like, if you read this book, it's got spelling errors, right? It's got
Yeah.
grammar errors, and
It's
he
raw.
it's raw, and he doesn't care it a lot. Like he talks about that. He's like, I'm not a
Yeah.
writer, but I'm trying to give you all my knowledge. And we don't read his stuff because he's a great writer. It's like, no, we're reading it to understand how to invest in stocks and real estate.
Yeah.
And so he starts with an ebook, and he starts selling that online. And then he has a Discord. So if you know Discord, it's like Slack,
Mm. Yeah.
just basically a chatting community. And then he created this great community where he invites all of us, traders or new traders,
Mm.
to join, kind of learn from each other. And he
Mm.
monetizes this as well. It's a few bucks for a few months to enter that. Then, of course, he's giving great tips on YouTube. He's monetizing YouTube ads as well, right?
Mm.
And then he's doing everything. And I think it's really he's the one of the best that I like to highlight, because he's your average Joe, and he's not what you would think is like he's not polished, he's not this influencer. He's just passionate about what he does. He has knowledge. He
Mm.
constantly pushes it out there. That's the key thing, is to get online, push it out there. And now he's
Mhm.
multi-millionaire. He's got thousands of followers, and his
Wow.
whole approach is and he says this every day, it's just about giving. So first give,
Mm.
and put yourself out there, first give, and then you'll see it will pay dividends in the future.
Mm. Wow.
And then Tiffany, I'll mention her as well too. I don't know her so well, but she does some really impressive things. She's got a few different companies, and one is about doing surveys with the next generation as well. Um, I'm sure the name is slipping me right now, but I think she gives Gen Z, Gen Y, like interactive polls on
Mm.
interesting things. Like, what do you guys really like? Everyone's trying to market to millennials, right? It's like, so
Mm.
she gets that info, and then she's selling that to companies. But I found her, yeah, that's Zebra Intelligence right in front of me. That's the company. And then, but
Oh.
she's on this platform, Islands link, and I just thought she has a great page. It's like a link tree, but
Mm.
um,
Okay.
you should check it out. It's a really cool kind of like these link in bio sites, but Islands link, you can monetize your content as well. So first, you can have all the links to your different channels. You can share some content, and then she'll have
Yeah.
premium content underneath it. So she's
Oh, okay.
teasing, and then underneath it's like, you want my premium content? Yeah, sign up for this low fee or something. And so, but she's just doing, I mean, she's quite impressive. She's doing many different things online. So it's just kind of,
Mm.
yeah, or, what I would think is, well, I think Tiffany is quite on another level. She's quite impressive. But I think overall, you just see how these, kind of ordinary folks, they
Mm.
start with their passion, they start putting it out into the universe, putting it out into digital. And now, you fast track it a year or two, and they have something really impressive. And this is so big, this passion economy, that there's a university for it now.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, and I mean, I guess quote unquote university, because I don't know what it takes to become an official one, but I think it's quite as official as you can get. So these two gentlemen
Yeah.
here love the idea of the passion economy, and they're like, this needs to be. And I just did this presentation at a university in Canada, the one I'm doing now, a few weeks ago. And this is why I love it so much, because I really believe, and we at Paper.li really believe, that this is going to really change the future of work, right? And I think
Mm.
universities are pushing still a little bit. I won't speak on behalf of all of them, but it's a little bit dated. They're pushing you into, what's the one thing that you want to do with your life? And it's
Rather than,
generally,
being well-rounded and, with their passion, like what they want to do.
exactly. It's not necessarily probably what they want to do, because I think a lot of youngsters still get pushed in what they should do, and
Yeah.
very traditional spaces still, law,
Yeah.
health, all of these things, which are
Yeah, of
fine,
course.
totally, but they're pushing you into one thing, and the other thing is they're teaching you the one thing that you should do.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe, and that's changing. It's like, and everyone who's wealthy in the world, it's always about having multiple streams of income and doing
Yeah.
multiple things. That's what will
Mm-hmm.
get you rich. That's what will give you freedom in the future. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's really the concept around this university is, and they do it in an interactive way. So I can't wait till there's more info, because it's still high level, because they just went through a round of funding for it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to be teaching courses that are like, they'll have experts on this, but it will be part podcasts, part live streaming. And this was before COVID, so I know that stuff for universities now you have to do. Everything is digital, but
Yeah.
their model before that was more like, can we mix it up? Can we have some content coming from social, some podcasting, and do this thing where it's more like live, like
Yeah.
this stuff is happening right now. Why can't we all bring it together and bring experts around the table and build a whole university around this? So I thought that was really cool.
That's a really new concept. I feel like, it's still going to take years, of course, but the fact that it's already something that's at work, it's in progress already. I think this is something that a lot of, the following generations would be super excited for.
I think
Knowing
so.
what social media has the power to do, has the power
Mhm.
to, change lives really, and, bring a lot of social awareness. This is really big.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like where these guys are headed with it for sure. So, yeah, I mean, this is if I have one goal of this presentation, this is it. It's just our
Mm,
whole message with Paperly is like, how do I get started? It's just like, get out there and start doing stuff. Don't just make your passion this thing that kind of lives in your mind. I mean, personally love to cook. But that's like, you can create so much. You can share so much of your passion online. You can join groups, you can write content, you can start your own group, start a website on it. Do what we're doing right here is just like, I don't know,
yeah,
find similar minded people, and talk about your interests, but basically like get out there and put yourself out there. It's
that's
some of
true.
viewers who are talking to right now, and they're like, duh, like I do this already, right? So that's for sure. But then some of us, I know for sure, you need like a little push, because putting yourself out there is sometimes a little bit strange.
And it's
But
scary for a lot of people. I understand, like, some people kind of get nervous or they feel as if they're going to be judged by
mhm.
anything they post online. And that's also a big factor.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. Like, yeah, and it's like, if you want somebody, well, what I do, I don't think I have a slide on this, but I think the way I inspire myself is like, I do like the spring cleaning a bit of my social accounts,
Yeah.
and I just like clean up these accounts that I follow that are like, okay, these guys aren't really helping me at all. And then I follow these influencers and creators that are like really inspiring you. So like, do you follow
Mm.
Gary Vaynerchuk, Shannon? Do you know
Sorry?
him? Gary V, do you know him?
I'm not familiar.
No?
Sorry.
Okay. So no, it's cool. He's like, what? Yeah, when you look him up, he's like, I don't know, he's a rock star. He's a huge influencer, just basically talking about everything from entrepreneurship to, I don't know, he's talking to young people all the time. He's really
Mhm.
huge, quite inspirational.
I'm sorry, can you
And
say his name again? Is that okay? Maybe
yeah,
I didn't hear.
if you put in Gary and then VEE, so V and two E's, that's the short way, because he writes it because his,
Yeah.
his last name's really long. But you'll see him. He is absolutely everywhere, millions of followers.
Mm.
I mean, everyone really knows him, or a lot of people know him now. Maybe it's more, in the West.
Oh,
Um,
I've seen him. I'm sorry. Yeah,
you've
I've seen
seen
him.
him. You've
Just
seen
not
him.
the name, but I've seen his face on my feed.
You've seen him for
Oh, okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
See.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So like if you want to get encouraged to do these things, you're really
Mhm.
nervous. Watch Gary. I mean, his stuff is so motivating. And he's dropping F bombs and swear, like he's so not polished either, but
Yeah.
you'll get up and you'll start putting this stuff out there. And what he also
Yeah.
says is like, don't just, I mean, it's not just doing your passion too, but it's also like stick with formats that you're comfortable with. So if
Mm,
you hate video and you also aren't the best speaker, but you're a great writer, yeah, just stick to writing. Like you don't have to be everywhere. Stick to what you're comfortable with or where you want to
of
go,
course.
and just like focus on that, you know? So you don't have to be everything to everybody, but the passion economy is really about you can be, you know, you can even have a very strange, interesting niche. There's a community out there like you for sure, and
Mm,
someone's going to enjoy the content that you're putting out there. So, but you got to put it out there. That's how you get started.
that's true. And I think another thing is like there's always room for improvement because I think a lot of people want everything to be like perfect and pristine once it's out there. But I think the fact that you're putting out there, it's like it's a lot of room for criticism, which
Yeah.
you have to take with like a grain of salt because all the I actually posted I do post a lot on my TikTok. It's also another format platform. And I do a lot of like food review and of course I do voiceovers. And there was one comment that kind of hit me once and they were saying, "Why are you whispering?" And to me, I kind of got hurt. I was like, why should I get hurt when there are other people who actually enjoy my content and actually look
Yeah.
forward to it? And
Yeah.
you shouldn't be so sprung upon one comment that's gonna hurt you. If it's something you can like, consider and try to make your content better, but at the same time, if you're enjoying it, if you know that a lot of people are enjoying it, you shouldn't take things too personally as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's yeah. Someone
Yeah.
sticking up. Yeah, be more confident. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think back to Gerald and back to
Yeah.
Gary, like it's also not about being this. I think this is one of the biggest change that I love. Like,
Hmm.
so I've been in marketing for years. When
Hmm.
just a few years ago,
Hmm.
say we were doing a video for one of our leaders, say he's the CEO when I used to work at a big company or a very senior person, right?
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
used to get in like a camera crew and there would be a script and we'd have a couple different camera shots and it was like such a production and we had to get it
Hmm.
right and it had to be perfect. Thank God like those days are over because people don't even want that type of content. They
Hmm.
want real, transparent, gritty, like
Yeah.
if that same leader when he did like a selfie video that he didn't have
Hmm.
a script, the quality was crap, that content got so much more engagement, right? And so
Oh.
and it's like Gerald too, like he's got spelling mistakes all over his book. Like
Yeah.
content is being published so fast these days. It's moved from being pristine and polished to people just want, you know, the value that you're giving, right?
Yeah.
So
They
they don't
want
care.
real. They want
They want
authentic.
absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that inspires some people too. Like be you. You know, that's what this whole thing is about. And
Yeah.
everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. So, you know, so just one, if we can help in any way. So we just launched this free personal branding playbook, just like, you know, just your general playbook. But if you're
Hmm.
new to personal branding, it's just a free download. And it's everything from like, okay, how do I plan this? And it's not like we're you know, it's not a 50-page thing, but it has the basics. Like if you know what are the questions you should ask yourself when you're thinking about how do you create a personal brand or a digital presence, all the way up to you know the content that works, how to
Hmm.
come up with a little color scheme, for example, or a tone of voice. Like, not that you
Hmm.
have to think about these things, because my last point still stands where the most important part is putting the content out there.
That's
But
true.
if you want to do it in a polished way, we put in a whole bunch of examples from Instagram to LinkedIn to podcasts on, oh, these, you know, these people are doing a pretty good job. Maybe you can
Yeah.
steal some things here and there from how they do that. So, I mean, feel free, Paper.li slash playbook if you'd like that. That can help. And we're getting towards the end here. It's I'm not sure how relevant it is for the audience on this call, but it's also about brands. So passion economy isn't just about being an entrepreneur. It's something that brands should wake up and realize as well. Like all of your employees, they're people. they have interests. And also these days, it could be very easy for them to start also their own thing as well, right?
Mm,
So I don't want to say it's a risk for brands, but I think it is in a way. Like you saw the stats of people leaving traditional workforce to become entrepreneurs. That's like a record
mm-hmm,
year. It's happening. So I think brands really need to have a think about this. Am I really helping my employees bring their passions to life in a way? Could
mm-hmm,
be allowing them to work in different, I don't know, different positions to get a flavor of things, or are there programs like we also have like a B2B tool to allow you to help your employees shine and get them creative online too, because they're really an extension of your brand, right?
mm,
Especially if they're in sales or branding or whatever. Like these, when you see people on LinkedIn, they're, you're seeing which company they work for. Like, don't you want to inspire your employees to go out there as well and be a great brand ambassador?
mm.
Um, so yeah, it's also for something for big organizations to think about and how they're adapting for this new economy. So yeah, what it means for you, this is how we sum it all up. I think, you know, it's back in the day, if you said start with what you love, start with your passion, I think people would have laughed at you because it just wasn't so practical to start with your
Mm,
passion, monetize it. They were separate, and they were rightfully so to kind of laugh because it was just so unlikely that you could do that. Now, any young person, I would say, pick what you love. You can absolutely, it doesn't matter how niche it is, you can make it a success. You can even be wealthy. It doesn't really matter. And I think anybody who's working these days knows, like I've gone through many jobs in my life. It
mm.
really is, you're going to be more effective. You're going to earn more money if it's a business or if it's a career, if you love what you do. You're going to get up every day,
That's true.
right?
That's really true.
So start with what you love. So pick your topics. What do you want to be known for? It could be multiple things. It could be one thing. But start putting that out into the universe, right? It's a little bit cliche, but when,
It
there's this whole
works.
thing about putting it out into the universe, but you can actually put it out there to the digital universe, and that's really even, more effective. So if you're reading about it every day and you're just sharing about it, pretty much, yeah, okay, so I'm reading something that starts with me sharing it, then I start sharing more
Mm,
often, then I start getting some comments, then oh, I found somebody else on LinkedIn who's also in this space, so let me add some more people
mm,
on LinkedIn. Oh, someone else, now I'm having a conversation, someone offered me a job, or I started a website just to start it, and then it gets some traffic, and all of a sudden that traffic turns into one sale, and that sale turns into multiple. Like, that's how
mm.
businesses start, right? It doesn't ever go from 0 to 100. It starts very small. So you're never
Yeah.
going to get to that small business if you don't have a website. So why don't you start and just create one and take
Mm,
it in small steps? So that's our whole dream. That's how we want to inspire people to do things. Is take small steps and yeah, and start with your passions. And we're here also to help too, if we can.
all right. That was
I
great.
think, yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, that's great. Actually, I have a few, there were a few comments here, and then of course I've got some questions that I've also
Okay, cool.
gotten. So one question, one comment we got was from Jureen, and she said building digital presence is really hard. It's also my problem. And then we have Venkatesh, and he just mentioned brilliant. So yeah, this was really actually this is a presentation that I was also waiting for because I'm also what's it called? I'm also inspired by creating content online. I mean, especially now that a lot of the things we have to do is just at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the first comment you said, it was just that she mentioned that it's just very
Yeah.
hard to do.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing. This is where Paperly comes. I mean, that's the exact pain point that we're trying to solve. Like, our
Mm,
tool is just, we curate. You can go in and say you like, I don't know, vegetarian cooking, or you like
mm,
real estate trends in this city. You pick your topics, and then we bring you content every day, like curated content, so articles and videos.
Mm.
And then it's content you can easily share to. You get a website, you get a newsletter, and you get content to share on social.
Mm.
So that's the exact pain point we're trying to help with. Like not superstar creators, we're trying to help with people just to get them motivated and just get them
Yeah.
to start. So yeah, maybe you tell her to check out the playbook, because it's really, I mean, our whole business is just built around the model. It's
Yeah.
just about a couple minutes a day, a couple
All
minutes a day.
right.
Started, yeah.
The next question, actually, I think this was also going to be one of my questions, but being consistent and sustaining the moment is the difficult part, and I get that a lot. How do you stay consistent when it comes to, your content? What are the tips you can give people or advice you can give in staying consistent?
Yeah, and you'll see in the playbook too. We call it the personal marketing routine. The routine
Mm-hmm.
is it. It's about doing a little bit every day. So
Mm-hmm.
I set a schedule with my Paper.li. So I just said, okay, give me my content at 9 a.m. and then I
Mm-hmm.
get 5 articles on mine are set to the passion economy and personal branding. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that I need to know what's happening in that space, and I also need
Mm-hmm.
to share it. So
Mm-hmm.
every day I carve out from 9 a.m. to 9:15. Okay, read the articles that I was sent. And so I'm like, okay, good. Now I know the new players, I know some new stuff, and I'm inspired. And that inspiration, just reading the content, then I'm all motivated. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna connect with this because I look at the article and I say, who wrote that? And then I add that person on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So I start with that routine and I just do little things. I'll share a content on LinkedIn. I'll add a
Mm-hmm.
comment. I'll add somebody, and then at the end of the week on Friday, I earmark time to put a little bit more effort. So maybe I'll write a small blog post,
Mm-hmm.
or plan like a webinar or something like this. Yeah, it's really about putting it into your agenda. I know that sounds like, I don't know, cliche, but it's put it into your agenda. Try and do a little bit every day and start small. Start with small sharing, um,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see that people will engage with your content, and yeah, eventually it will start growing. But it's like you have to put in a little bit of time now and each day, and you'll see down in 1 year down the road how what an impact it will have.
Yeah, so it's also routine and changing your mindset, correct?
Yeah,
Making sure that you do a lot that certain time to dedicate yourself to the content that you want to post.
yeah, absolutely,
Correct.
absolutely, and also challenge yourself too. Like
Hmm.
if it's hard for you to do, is it really your passion? I don't know.
Oh, that's a
Like,
hard hitting question.
well, because I think some people are maybe looking at this presentation and thinking, "Oh, I need to do this for my job." Like, "Oh, shoot,
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm in this space. I should be pushing more content on healthcare because that's what our company is doing." But
Hmm.
then it's like, but maybe you have a passion that you really love, and then it should probably be a lot easier for you to read on it and share about it too. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you have a couple different things that you can.
Hmm. All right. So this next question that I also got is, what should the proper mindset be when it comes to building your digital presence, or to stand out from the crowd?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna list out all the cliche things, but really the it should be authenticity. I
Hmm.
say even saying that word, it sounds so like you probably read that in 10 million places. And I think we've said it so many times, but it's like
Yeah.
um, it's really like, for example, I don't write like a writer. So I
Hmm.
enjoy writing, but I really write how I speak. So if you look at some
Hmm.
of maybe my blog posts, like they don't follow the regular paragraph format.
Hmm.
I use just random lines. I hate jargon. I really talk how I speak,
Hmm.
and because that's me. And actually,
Hmm.
people much prefer reading that. Like
Yeah.
there's so much content out there. Like cut the noise out. Like just tell me, what you're trying
Hmm.
to say. And I think if you do that in video, and if you do that, don't be afraid and like laugh a bit and like have humor,
Yeah.
but like really be yourself. and don't think too much of it. The point of it, I had this last slide. I don't have it here in the other
Oh wait. Oh, the
presentation.
last picture.
Yeah, I didn't put it in here, but it would have been very fitting because Gerald, who I talk about all the time, obviously a few times this one, Gerald Peters, but his whole thing is like, what does he say? He's like, it doesn't have to be, don't get it perfect, just get it going. Like, or some quote
Mm,
like this, and he's just like, yeah, if you think about it too much, you're gonna end up with your maybe you'll never get the content out and you're gonna have
mhm,
so little of it. And I still do this. Like as an example, my big channel is LinkedIn, and
mm,
I should be better at this, but I keep a document, and every time I have an idea of something to write about or a business idea, I put it into this ideas sheet. And
mm,
I say that's a great tool. It's in the personal branding playbook. I put it in there because
mm,
it's so effective for me. What I should be doing now, because I don't even get to that ideas sheet enough, because then I'm like, okay, I have to get and I have to make it nice for LinkedIn. What I should really be doing is just posting right immediately on
yeah.
LinkedIn. But I'm still getting there as well, right? Like I'm still wanting it to be, spend some time on it. But
Yeah.
really, what I've done is like I've missed weeks of posting. And it's really about, I think in the past, what it used to be a quality game and
Mm,
quantity was less important. Really, quantity is important. It
mm,
really is important. Like you have to put consistent, high volume
that's
content.
true.
It's
That's
like the
really
game has
true.
changed. There's too much out there, right? Volume
Yeah.
matters in branding and in marketing.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't think too much. Put it out there. Be you. Those are the most important things, I think.
I really like that thing that you brought up with quantity. I mean, I know that quality is really crucial, but at the same time, consistency is quality. I mean, quantity is also part of the consistency thing because
Yeah,
you have to show the people that you're constantly putting yourself out there, and that's really important. And I think I just wanted to share a little thing from my experience as well. When I was starting out with posting my food reviews here in the Philippines, I got actually my views, my range were like 60,000 to 100,000, and that was because I was consistent. And there was a time that I kind of fell off the train
yeah,
because I just I didn't post as much, and I got so busy, and all my views suddenly went down. They were from 100 to 200, and I said, "Oh gosh, where are these people who are watching me?"
yeah, yeah,
But it's
yeah, yeah.
important. It's important to keep putting yourself out there, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there, even if people comment on your voice. But your mind is going down.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's a great example. And not
yeah,
only people, like say I'm following somebody, an account,
yeah,
and I'm like, okay, let's see what this brand has to offer me. I'll follow them
yeah,
on Instagram or something. And then you don't hear anything from them. And then maybe once in a while they post one thing. I'm kind of like, all right, unfollow. Like you failed, right?
yeah,
So it's not
yeah.
only the human mindset, but it's also the algorithms. Like, don't forget,
That's true.
it's an actual science. If you're not
Mm,
posting a lot, they're not going to
they're
put you
not
up
gonna
in
put
the
you.
algorithm. Yeah. And
That's so
I face
true.
that same thing you said on LinkedIn. Like I'll post consistently.
Hmm.
I'll be getting great engagement. I'll miss a bunch of weeks. I'll put something out there, and then either
And
it's
then just
LinkedIn
goes
or it's the
down.
people themselves, but they're like, nah, like I kind of forgot
Yeah,
about you.
it's
And
so
like,
sad.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, keep at it.
Yeah, I got a
Yeah.
question here from Vincent Robert. Building a sorry, my voice. Building a personal brand presence is really hard. What is your suggestion to build personal brand with a small budget?
Oof, I'm trying so hard not to just promote our product here. Um,
Maybe just like not call your product by its name.
yeah, exactly. Well, yes. So I think because it really is, if you put Paperly aside, I was
Mhm,
also about to say this, like content curation is a really powerful tool. I was just reading, and this is what we do, right? We curate news for you to share and to inspire you on the
mhm,
topics that you're interested in. But I was
mhm,
also reading this thing yesterday. It's like, and this is one of my personal goals is to start one of these Instagram accounts. Like,
mhm,
say you love fashion,
mhm,
and you don't have content, right? So say you're working in a
mhm,
job, it's like you're not a content creator. I don't have a team to create this stuff. You can create a fashion account on Instagram just by copying, but of course, underline with giving them credit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can take the best. So if it's street fashion or whatever that is,
Mm-hmm.
you can take content from all these different accounts, add a sentence on, I don't know, something clever, why you like it, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It start a whole account around curation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really easy place to start. So that's the whole basis of our model. We bring you the content to share. So
Mm-hmm.
it is you read it because you need to know the knowledge. So you keep up to date with your topics. Then you can share that content on LinkedIn, on your other channels. That starts to help too. You don't need to create your own. And then eventually, like I do, well, every post I share, I add perspective, I add a comment. But then
Mm-hmm.
I'm so kind of in the groove by Friday or whatever. So I've had so much knowledge that week and so much sharing that I'm ready to write something long form.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Um, so I think, if I had a small just budget, it's hard to say. I mean, it would really depend on what industry that. I don't know if you can ask him, but if he's in a certain space or what his thing is, because then I would maybe recommend something
Yeah.
different. But um, yeah,
Oh, he
because
actually had a follow-up question to that.
okay.
He said, "How about copyright? If we curate other people's content and how SEO affects that?"
Mhm. Yeah, again, it depends on what you're doing. So if you put curated content on your website, it will help boost the ranking of the SEO. It used to boost it really well, but Google changed that because they're like, oh, that's not original content. So like for example, we have a widget that you can take this curated content and then embed it on your site. And for our customers, it does help improve SEO, just not as
Mm-hmm.
what but it's about adding, like you said, you got to write copy on top of that, or you always got to add your original perspective on it, whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
comment or whether it's a blog post or whatever. So you
Yeah, just so people don't
want,
think they're copying.
yeah, well, that too. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
all of our curated content still links to the original source, of
Yeah.
course. But yeah, write your own stuff. Absolutely.
Mm. All right. We have another question as well from Jareen. What would your advice be to people who knew what they wanted before but have outgrown their passion already? People who are now stuck and don't know what to do anymore.
So if I understood correctly, um, you had a passion and you
Mm.
realize you're not enjoying that, right? Is that it?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Knew what they wanted before. Yeah, I guess maybe they knew what their passion was, but they've outgrown it, and now
Okay.
they don't know what to do anymore. So maybe what would a way for them to like jumpstart like their passion again? Or
Yeah. Is it about jump starting that same passion, or is it about that they want to have a different one?
hmm, I'm not sure. Doreen, would you like to follow up with that one? If which one do you mean?
Yeah. I'll just try and answer both of them as we go. Like,
Okay.
for me to stay
Yeah.
inspired, it's that point I made before. Clean up I'm sure you're like all of us, and you're on social a lot of the day.
Yeah.
Clean up your who you follow, and
Mm-hmm.
follow people that are really inspirational. Like Google
Mm-hmm.
search them, like follow Gary Vee, follow these people. Like when you watch a few of their videos, you're going to be like, I'm getting off my ass and I am going to create something, because it does it to me
Yeah.
every day. Right? I can either go down two ways in social. I can read the mind-numbing content, and then I'm on there for hours, and then I get
Yeah.
off. I'm like, man, I just wasted a good part of the day. Or I watch some of these people's content, and I'm like
Yeah.
jacked up and ready to go. So I would say that, like, follow inspirational people
So
especially in your niche.
so it's really important to, clean up who you follow. I think
Yeah,
that's a really great tip. I think a lot of also on social media, it's altered reality. So, not everything you see is, how they are really in real life. There's no Photoshop in real life. I know that's been said so many times, but it's when the whole word authenticity, it's going to keep coming back. And I think that's what, it's really important is that you stay true to yourself and you stay true to your content.
yeah, absolutely.
I don't think Jareen followed up anymore, but I
Okay.
think that answered your question.
Okay,
All
cool.
right. All right. So that's gonna bring me to my last question for you. Is there anything the audience can expect from you in the upcoming weeks, or just from you, like any event that you might want to share with us?
I mean, just from Paperly?
Paperly or you, whichever you prefer.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, the personal branding playbook is something that we were working on for some time, and we just launched that.
All right.
So that is that's an exciting one too. Um, other than that, we're always working on a few different things. We've got new product ideas that are coming from
Yeah.
Paper. But of course, I don't know if we talk about it already, but if us and Saastronautics are going to be kind of probably doing something together, and like working on more content together, and yeah, maybe
Yeah.
do a little partnership. So I don't know if we mentioned that here or.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much, Dan. I'd like to say thank you for sharing your time and your expertise with us today in this episode of Sasha Talks. It was great having you, and of course, I'm looking forward to what's more in store for us in the future. And of course, thank you to everyone who joined us today. Ask questions. Don't forget to check out the personal branding playbook on Paperly. And of course, stay safe, everyone. And until next time, bye. Bye, Dan. Bye,
Thanks, Shannon.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you.